I'm gonna be so honest when I tell you that like learning to portion control and not have to eat every single thing in my sight when it was put in front of me was probably one of the tools or actions that took me the longest to learn. And
Hey bestie, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Bestie, like the video because it helps with my algorithm. So in today's video, we'll be talking about portion control is the secret to weight loss. I've put the videos together so that you watch. I'll be back share my
I'm gonna be so honest when I tell you that like learning to portion control and not have to eat every single thing in my sight when it was put in front of me was probably one of the tools or actions that took me the longest to learn in my weight loss journey. But I promise you, you have to be able to do this for sustainable weight loss long term. And that's coming from a volume eater of someone whose normal day-to-day routine is maximizing calories and fitting as much food as possible into my day-to-day routine so that I can feel full and satisfied. And that's a good tool too, and a great foundation for a diet for weight loss, but you can't ignore the fact that there's gonna be some situations in your life where you're not gonna be in control of what's put in front of you food-wise. And if you can't intuitively eat and be intentional about your portions, then it can be really easy to get stuck in an indulgent, restrictive cycle where every time that you're presented with the opportunity to eat food and it's not something that's like in your control, whether it be you're going to a Christmas party with a huge spread in front of you, or your coworker brought you a cookie because they wanted to celebrate you, your friends want to start a book club where y'all make charcuterie and wine every weekend. And these circumstances are literally the main reason behind why people think that they have to live a really boring life during a weight loss journey. In order to get better at this, you have to challenge yourself and put yourself in those situations. Like my aunt was making appetizers today for the Christmas party and she was like taste testing some stuff and she looked at me and she was like, "Do you want to try some of this?" And I was like, "No, I'm good, thanks." And then I just went and got ready. When I was getting ready, I literally was like reflecting on that moment because it was kind of surreal to me because I used to be the type of person that no matter what it was, even if it was something I didn't really like or didn't really want, if someone was offering me food, I was going to take it. If someone was like, "Kelly, we have donuts in the break room," I was going to go regardless. If someone was like, "Oh my gosh, Kelly, just one more drink," I was going to do it. And that's because I had no self-control around other people or when situations just weren't literally created by me like I do when I weigh my food out at home and create my own meals. It was like as soon as I stepped out of my own environment where all of the variables were completely up to me, it all went to crap because I literally didn't know how to balance or be intentional around food ever. I had such a restrictive mindset and a scarcity mindset around food because I thought, oh, this is the only situation where I'm ever going to be able to have this food again. So I always thought I had to take advantage of it. And the truth is, there's just not many circumstances in life where you're never going to be able to get that food again if you want it. And this all became so much easier for me when I started intentionally practicing intuitive eating, even if it was within a calorie deficit while I was in a weight loss phase. I actually sat there with my thoughts around food and asked myself, like, is this something I want or am I satisfied with what I had? And then I made choices based on being really honest with myself around those things. And it was not easy at first because when you're rewiring your brain against habits that have been so perpetual in your lifestyle for so long, you have to be intentional about it. You cannot just think it's going to happen naturally. But it will eventually start happening naturally when you keep doing it. And these things and these tools may be normal for a lot of people. And you may see your friends and you're like, "Oh my gosh, how do you leave half of your plate when you go to a restaurant?" It's because they have these practices and they might not have had to like deal with the negative habits and like rewire them. And that just might be something that because of the way that they were conditioned when they're growing up or something, it's just natural to them. But this is such a huge beneficial tool that you need to learn if you want to reach the point where you can maintain your weight loss without feeling like you can only make progress whenever you control every single portion of your life. And this is how I go to a Christmas party tonight. I drink champagne. I'm mindful about my portions, but I still come out feeling really good because I ate things that I love and I didn't do it in a way that literally made me sick. And give yourself the opportunity to impress yourself. It is going to be hard. It's going to take willpower. It's going to take discipline. But as soon as you keep repeating that good habit, it will be instilled in your lifestyle as something that just feels like that's what I do. Bye. Love you.
One of the most important things to learn when you're trying to lose weight is portion control. A lot of us were never taught what an adequate portion size really looks like. And let's be real, we live in the United States where overconsumption is glorified. You go to a restaurant like Olive Garden or the Cheesecake Factory and you're being served 2 to 3 times what one portion should look like in just one plate. What I always recommend people, especially when they're starting out, is to buy a food scale, not so that you can get overly obsessed with how many calories you're eating and weigh every single thing that you eat, but at least for the first 2 weeks, start portioning out everything on the food scale and learning what the portion should really look like for your calorie intake needs. As you visually learn what your portion should look like, you can start weaning off that food scale if you want. But once you start having portion control in your life and implementing it on a daily basis, I promise you that weight loss is going to be 10 times easier. Alrighty, and that is it for today. I hope it helped as usual, and bye for now.
Let's talk about how to eat the right amount for you to either lose weight or stay thin, because a lot of you do not understand this and you're going past that point, and that's why you're carrying excess. It's not your genes, not your metabolism. It's because you're literally going past balance every time you eat. Okay? I'm gonna use a little story. The story is of little old me, okay? And I used to eat to the point where I felt like I needed to do a workout or go for a walk after eating, okay? I used to eat to a point that I was already planning on how I'm going to compensate for essentially overeating, right? I would eat to a point where it's like, okay, but now I won't eat for the next blah, blah, blah hours. Okay, but tomorrow morning I'm gonna do this. Okay, but now I'm like only eating vegetables for the rest of the day. So that might be a tell for you. If you are already calculating how you're essentially going to compensate for how much you ate, I have a wild, crazy idea. Why don't you just not eat as much? It feels better, okay? I was just hosting one of my alumni calls for 1010 Women, and someone was mentioning how, wow, it feels so much better to eat the amounts that I'm eating right now, and it's coming from this place of abundance, of wanting to feel good, instead of, you know, I shouldn't eat this much because I want to lose weight. I shouldn't eat this much should be enough for me. You know, why can't I get it together? No, we want to throw that bullying energy out. The only person bullying here is me to you on TikTok. I'm doing it with love, okay? Instead, I want you to practice, how much should I eat if I wanted to feel amazing? I have an idea. If you're carrying weight right now, excess weight, it's going to be less than you're eating. Okay? And you can go about this from the energy of, oh, I need to eat less. Why am I such a badass? Right? That's not going to work for you. Or you can go about it from this place of, you know what? I feel a bit heavy after I eat. I feel like I should do a walk after I eat. How would it feel to eat a little bit less? That feeling is calm, zen, lightness, spaciousness. If you are eating past that, that is the reason why you're overeating, and therefore you're overweight, okay? Maybe you're still doing this and you're not overweight because you're doing a whole bunch of other things to compensate for that. I'm exhausted just thinking about it, okay? Life is not meant to be spent overeating and then making up for it. Life is meant to be spent enjoying life, okay? Food is meant to care for the physical body when hungry, no more, no less. If you want to put food back in order, I am hosting another group. These are my high-touch support groups. You get the full 1010 experience, plus me in your corner on your WhatsApp every single day, holding you accountable, answering your questions, and reframing things for you, because oftentimes I see women go through this and they hit bumps in the road and they're like, I have no clue why. And I'm like, I do. Let me be that for you. The link is in my bio if you want to get started.
This is how to easily portion your food using just your hand. I want to start off by saying if you are eating whole foods, the amount of food you're eating doesn't matter as much because your body will listen to the nutrients it's getting and naturally feel full. But let's get to it. So when it comes to carbohydrates, I'm talking bread, rice, pasta, potatoes, corn, etc. You want to use your fist. One fist size is approximately a cup, but your fist is your portion. Not your brother's, not your daughter's, not your dad's, your fist. Next up is protein. Meat, fish, poultry, chicken, which is poultry, whatever. That's going to be 1 palm size right here, which is approximately 3 to 4 ounces. Again, some people have really big hands like me. Some people have small hands. Just follow your hand. I want to note that this is for the generally healthy person. If you have like kidney disease or any other type of medical condition, you need to consult your dietitian about what your specific needs are. Okay, so we've got 1 fist of carbs, 1 palm of protein, which makes up approximately half of your plate. So on the other half, that's where our non-starchy vegetables come into play. I'm talking any vegetable except for potatoes, peas, and corn, because those are a little bit more starchy, which belong in your fist column. When it comes to this half though, just go for it. There is no limit. You can have as much as you want in this category. I also forgot to mention that when it comes to fruit, we want to put the fruit in our carbs column because fruit does have carbohydrates in it. It's going to raise your blood sugar, and so we don't want to leave it in the unlimited column with the vegetables because of that blood sugar component. Okay, I hope this helps at least one person. Let me know what you think in the comments. If this is
How to practice portion control without tracking calories, let's get right into it. But before we start, you guys know I like to give you the scientific background of nutrition because as a registered dietitian, my job is to educate and not influence. Our brains rely on both internal signals coming from our hunger and fullness hormones and external cues like our plate size, food variety, and even distractions. Problem is, those external cues often override the internal ones, but if you set up your environment strategically, you can eat the right portions without tracking a thing. So I'm gonna give you 7 practical tips for portion control without having to track calories at all. Number 1, when you're plating out your food, use a smaller plate or a smaller bowl. The research shows that people who do this often serve themselves 20% less food without even noticing. Number 2 is to limit food variety at one meal. And what I mean by this is don't have sweet, savory, salty, umami, spicy, because when you have too many competing tastes and flavors, it's harder to feel satiated. Number 3, you want to pre-plate your meal. Don't eat out of the package. It removes the bottomless effect when you put that portion onto a plate and finish there. When you are eating your meal, start by eating your protein and your produce or your fruits and veggies first, because these are going to fill you up faster and leave less room for you to overeat starches and fats. Number 5, you want to pause mid-meal. So when you're halfway through your meal, set your fork down and determine, am I still hungry or am I just finishing this plate out of habit? Number 6 is to keep your trigger foods less accessible. The more effort and energy you have to put into grabbing that food, you'll do it less often. Last but not least, try not to eat distracted. When you're distracted by a TV or a phone, that increases your intake by 25 to 30% because your brain is not recognizing that you're eating. This is why I preach that you do not need to micromanage your calories forever. Portion control can come when you're just aware and you're eating intentionally and mindfully.
Portion control is literally the key to happiness because you're not going to be happy if you eat the whole cake, but you're not going to be happy if you don't eat the cake either. This is chocolate cake from Giselle's, and yes, it is a healthier cake. It is organic, lower calorie, refined sugar free, but I'm still not eating the entire thing in one sitting because that's not going to make me feel good and make me happy. I have eaten the whole thing in one sitting before because I was hungry enough for it, and that's perfectly fine. But the past few times that I have wanted to eat it, I have not been hungry enough to eat the whole thing. So I have had a third of it at a time, and I have felt so great and so happy afterwards because I ate the cake, but also I didn't eat to the point where I was stuffed, and I also didn't overeat just because something's healthier or just because I can. The whole point of eating is to be happy. And again, you're not going to be happy if you stuff yourself, and you're not going to be happy if you deprive yourself either. So, portion control is genuinely the key to happiness with food. The sooner you can master it, the better and the happier and the healthier you will be. Cheers.
I am going to show you guys how to portion control your plate using nothing but your hands. It's protein. This can be chicken, eggs, meat, fish, and it should be about the size and thickness of your palm. So if you're a bigger person, you're naturally going to have a bigger palm, right? This is why your hand works so great. For size? No. Is it good enough that it's not going to drive you crazy and allow you to reach your goals? Yeah. Next, we have veggies. So these are low in calories and high in nutrients. So you want one fistful. I like 1 to 2 servings for mine. So I like to cover half of my plate with veggies. So carbs, it should be about a cupful. This is rice, pasta, quinoa. Now when it comes to fat, so many people tend to eat an entire avocado. You want it to be about the length and size of your thumb. Protein, about the size of our palm. We have our veggies about 2 fist sizes. We have our carbs about 1 cupful. And then we have our fats, which is about the size and length of our thumb. Here is not to be perfect. It's to be good enough to allow you to reach your goals while still enjoying your life and not driving yourself crazy over this. Bon appetit.
See, have you ever noticed something? A lot of people are trying to lose weight, but they still eat huge portions. And honestly, this is one of the biggest reasons people struggle with weight loss because sometimes it's not even about eating bad food all the time. It's about eating too much of it. Today we're going to talk about this because it's very important, bestie, and we need just to talk about it, even you know yourself. So many people think weight loss means starving yourself, but that is very not true. You can still enjoy your favorite food. You can still eat rice, chicken, fries, bread, or snacks. The problem is that when the portions become too big. A lot of us were raised to finish everything on the plate. Some people eat while watching TV. Some people eat fast and don't even realize how much they're eating. Before you know it, you have eaten enough food for 2 or 3 people. And the scary part is big portions slowly become normal. Your stomach get used to oversized meals, your body gets used to overeating, and then healthy portions start looking too small. That's why portion control matters. Portion control is not a punishment, it's very disciplined. It teaches your body to eat what is actually need instead of eating until you feel painful. And let's be honest, many people are not hungry all the time. Sometimes they're bored, sometimes they're stressed, sometimes they're emotional. Food becomes comfort. That's why some people say they're trying to lose weight, but every weekend turns into a cheat weekend. One burger becomes two, one soda becomes three, one snacks become a full meal. Then Monday comes, they wonder why nothing changed. Weight loss is really about consistency, basically. Small portion done consistency will change your life than extreme diet that people quit after 1 week. And another thing people don't talk about enough is drinks. Some people control food but drinks hundreds of calories every day. Sugary coffee, soda, energy drinks, milkshake. Liquid calories add up very fast. Now listen carefully. Portion control does not mean eating tiny amount of food or maybe make yourself suffer. This is not healthy either. It means balance. Eating enough to feel satisfied, not stuffed. Your body needs fuel, but it does not need excess every single day. One thing that helps many people is using small plates. It sounds simple, but it really works best. Your brain needs time to realize it's tricky. But when people eat too fast, they overeat before the body can react. And social media makes things worse. Sometimes people normalize giant meals and unhealthy eating habits. Meanwhile, the people who stay healthy long term usually have one thing in common: moderation. They understand balance. They know that meals does not need to feel like a celebration. And honestly, portion control can even save money. You buy less chunky food, you waste less money, or you spend less money for takeout. Your health improves, your wallet feels better. Now let's talk about something important. Weight loss is not only about looking good, it's about energy, confidence, health, and mobility. A lot of people, until they have health problems, this is when they're going to stop doing all these things. So yeah, Bessie, that's a video for today. See you in the next episode. Bye. Take care of yourselves.